With a familiar click, the key turned in the lock. Tom Satori rubbed the back of his neck as he opened the back door to Mama Rosa's, the Italian family restaurant where he had spent the last 15 years of his life. He had poured everything into this place. The kitchen was quiet now, a sharp contrast to the usual chaos of clanging pots and shouted orders during business hours. The only sounds were the low hum of the refrigerators and the soft squeak of Tom's shoes on the freshly mopped floor. In and out, he muttered to himself, pulling out his phone to check the time. 11:47 p.m. He shouldn't be here at all. 12 hours of work should have been more than enough for one day. But he had forgotten about a stack of unpaid bills that needed urgent attention. 3 suppliers were waiting for their money, and Tom couldn't afford to lose even one of them, not with profit margins this thin. He walked through the dark kitchen toward his small office at the back. But just as he was about to enter, he heard something coming from the front of the restaurant. Music. Soft, sensual. Frank Sinatra. Tom frowned. He had just fired the shift manager last week for throwing after-hours parties. Surely no one else would be that stupid. "Hello?" he called out, cautiously moving toward the dining area. No answer. But the music continued. As he stepped through the swinging doors into the guest area, he noticed a dim light behind the bar. The rest of the room was dark. The tables were set, the chairs neatly pushed in, everything in its place. Then he heard it. A woman's laughter, soft, intimate, and immediately familiar. Kelly. Tom froze. His wife had told him she was going out with her sister for a late dinner after her fitness class. So what was she doing here? His heart started to race as he moved silently toward the bar. Then he heard a man's voice, too quiet to make out the words, but unmistakably familiar. The bar was L-shaped. They were just around the corner, out of sight. "We shouldn't be doing this," Kelly whispered, teasingly. "Not here." "That's what makes it exciting," the man replied. Tom's blood turned to ice. Mike, his best friend since college. The best man at his wedding. Tom took 2 more steps, and then he saw them. Kelly was sitting on the bar, her legs wrapped around Mike's waist, her hands tangled in his hair, pulling him in for a deep, passionate kiss. Right next to them stood the bottle of Blanton's bourbon, the one Tom had been saving for their 20th wedding anniversary, still 6 months away. Time seemed to stop. Tom stood there, frozen, unable to process what he was seeing. His wife, his best friend, his restaurant, his bourbon. Every betrayal stacked on top of each other like bricks forming a wall between him and everything he thought he knew. Kelly opened her eyes mid-kiss and saw him. She gasped and shoved Mike away so hard he stumbled back. Her voice cracked with shock. "Oh God. Tom." Mike turned. His face lost all color. "Jesus, Tom. Man, I can explain." But Tom couldn't speak. A high-pitched ringing filled his ears. A wave of nausea hit him. Years of marriage. Years of friendship. All of it a lie. "How long?" he finally asked, barely recognizing his own voice. Kelly slid off the bar and moved toward him. "Tom, please. It's not what it looks like." "Don't." The word was sharp. She flinched. "Don't insult me by lying." Mike stepped forward, hands raised in surrender. "Tom, buddy. I'm not your buddy." Tom's hands were shaking now, anger rising inside him like pressure in a sealed container. "Answer the question." Kelly and Mike exchanged a glance. A silent look that told Tom this wasn't their first secret meeting. 3 months, Kelly finally admitted, her voice barely a whisper. 3 months. While Tom worked 12-hour days, 6 days a week, Kelly had suddenly become passionate about fitness. Mike had joined their Sunday dinners, acting like part of the family. It meant nothing, Kelly said quickly, stepping closer. "It was just physical. I was lonely, Tom. You were never home. I just wanted a little fun." Fun. The word hit Tom like a slap. Their marriage was falling apart, and she called it fun? "And you?" Tom turned to Mike. "Did you enjoy sleeping with your best friend's wife too?" Mike swallowed hard. "Tom, I never meant for this to happen. We were just talking, then it got out of hand. In my restaurant." Tom's voice dropped to a low, dangerous tone. "You brought her here after hours? What? To prove how easy it was for you?" "What I heard says it all," Tom said. "No, wait," Mike protested. "It wasn't like that. We just needed a private place." "So you stole my keys?" Tom's voice was low, dangerous. My bourbon? Slept with my wife? In my restaurant? What exactly do I deserve? Kelly was crying now. Her mascara ran down her face in black streaks. Tom, please, we can fix this. It was a mistake. A stupid mistake. Tom looked at her and saw a stranger. This woman he had shared 20 years of his life with. The same woman he nursed through pneumonia 6 years ago. The one who stood by his side at his mother's funeral. Who was she? Had he ever really known her? A mistake, he said, his voice strangely calm. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. A decision you both made. Again and again. For fun. He brushed past them, stepped behind the bar, and grabbed the bottle of Blanton's. Without a word, he uncorked it and took a long, slow sip straight from the bottle. The bourbon burned as it went down, but that pain felt real. Grounding. Tom, what are you doing? Kelly's voice trembled. Having a little fun, he said bitterly, throwing her words right back at her. He took another drink, then slammed the bottle hard onto the bar. You both need to leave. Now, we should talk about this, Mike said, finally finding some nerve. You're upset, and you have every right to be. Thanks for your permission, Tom replied, with a harsh laugh. To be upset that my wife and my best friend betrayed me. I didn't mean it like that, Mike stammered. I don't care what you meant. Tom's voice rose for the first time. Get out of my restaurant. Both of you. Now. Kelly stepped closer and reached for his arm. Tom, please. Let me come home with you. We can talk. We can fix this. Tom yanked his arm away like her touch burned him. There's nothing to fix. We're done. The finality in his voice hit her like a slap. Kelly's face twisted in disbelief. You can't mean that. 20 years, Tom. 20 years don't just end in one night. It didn't end tonight, Tom said coldly. It ended 3 months ago. I just didn't know it. Mike had already moved to the door. At least he had the decency to look ashamed. Tom, he started, when you calm down. When I calm down. Tom cut him off. Let me make this crystal clear. Our friendship is over. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my house. Don't step foot in this restaurant again. You're dead to me. Mike flinched, like Tom had punched him. Without another word, he turned and left. The door clicked shut behind him. Kelly stayed, her face soaked in tears. What about me, Tom? She asked. What about us? Tom looked at her, and the worst part was, he still loved her. Even now, even after everything. Part of him wanted to hold her and pretend this hadn't happened. Pretend they could fix it. But he knew the truth. They couldn't. Not with Mike. Pack your things tonight, he said quietly. Go to your sister's. Go to Mike's. Go wherever. Just don't be in the house when I get home. You're throwing me out? Kelly's voice rose, full of disbelief. Just like that? Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. Tom turned away. He couldn't look at her any longer. He walked back behind the bar, picked up the bottle, and took another drink. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. He heard her sob, one broken, shattering sound. It pierced his chest, no matter how hard he tried to block it out. She picked up her purse and jacket, and left, without another word. Alone in the restaurant, Tom sat down on a bar stool, bottle in hand. The silence was deafening. 20 years of marriage. 15 years of friendship. 15 years of sweat and effort poured into this restaurant. All of it stained. Tom looked around the dining room, at the framed photos on the walls. His family, his employees, his community. The worn but polished bar where locals shared stories. The corner booth where he had proposed to Kelly 20 years ago. This place had been his dream, his legacy. Now, it felt like a prison full of memories. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number, not caring about the late hour. A tired voice finally answered. Jim, Tom said. This is Tom Satori. I know it's late, Tom said into the phone, but I've made a decision. I want you to list the restaurant. As soon as possible. Jim, his real estate agent and longtime customer, was instantly wide awake. Mama Rosa's? You're listing it? Tom, you've turned down offers for years. What happened? It's time for a change, Tom said simply. I'm thinking about heading west. Maybe Arizona. Or New Mexico. Somewhere without snow. Without reminders. After ending the call, Tom took one last look around the restaurant. Then he picked up the bottle of Blanton's, walked into the kitchen, and poured it all down the drain. Every drop. There would be no celebration, but there would be a new beginning. Somewhere else. Without Kelly. Without Mike. Without Mama Rose's. When he was done, Tom stepped out into the cool Chicago night and took a deep breath. The pain was still there, raw and pulsing. But beneath it, something else was stirring. Something that, strangely, felt like freedom. Kelly sat in her car, parked alone in the empty lot. Her hands gripped the steering wheel as sobs racked her body. She had ruined everything. And now, with a painful clarity that felt almost physical, she knew it. It had started out so small. A few complaints about Tom's long hours. Mike offering a sympathetic ear. Then the lingering touches. The flirtatious texts. The stolen kisses in the gym parking lot. The thrill of secrecy. The adrenaline of forbidden desire. It was intoxicating. When Mike suggested they meet at the restaurant, with the spare key Tom didn't know was missing, Kelly had ignored every warning sign. Now, alone in her cold car, she wondered how she had been so blind. So selfish. She did love Tom, despite everything, but she had thrown it all away for what? A little fun. The word now tasted like ash. Her phone lit up. A message from Mike. "We need to talk. Come over." Kelly stared at the screen, and for the first time, she saw Mike clearly. He wasn't the escape from her loneliness she had imagined. He was just a man who had been willing to betray his best friend. What did that say about him? What did that say about her? She turned off her phone without replying and started the car. She'd go to her sister's, just like Tom had told her. Tomorrow could deal with whatever came next. But one thing was certain. She wasn't running to Mike. That mistake, at least, she wouldn't repeat. 3 months later, Tom stood outside the restaurant, watching as the new owners took down the old Mama Rose's sign. The young couple had big dreams for the place. A farm-to-table concept, local craft beers, and an ambitious menu. Tom wished them well, but he felt no regret. As the last letter of the sign came down, the chapter closed, symbolically and completely. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A message from his real estate agent in Santa Fe. Offer for the cafe space accepted. Congratulations, you're officially a business owner in New Mexico. Tom smiled. A genuine smile, something rare in recent months. The divorce had been finalized 2 weeks ago. Kelly hadn't contested anything. A small mercy in the middle of all that heartache. Mike had tried to contact him multiple times. Tom had blocked his number, told mutual friends not to forward any messages. Some betrayals couldn't be forgiven, only survived. As he walked back to his car, Tom caught his reflection in the window. A little slimmer, gray at the temples, but his eyes were clear, his shoulders straight. The past couldn't be changed. But the future was unwritten. In 3 days, he'd head west, toward that future, leaving behind the shattered pieces of the life he had built here. This wasn't the ending he had imagined. But maybe, just maybe, it would lead to a better beginning. Taps, Tom muttered to himself. One last look at the restaurant, his life's work. Then he got into his car and drove away. Without looking back.